Hello everyone, welcome to Time Traveler's Coin Exchange. Tonight, or this afternoon, we are going to have episode 22 of The Coin Vault has opened. I pulled out another box from the vault. I can't guarantee what coins we're going to see here today. Did seem like I saw some 1953 Ps and a bunch of 1942 Ss, and some 1943 steel cents. These seem like they're in kind of condition between circulated and AU. There may be some MS ones in it. Pretty much I searched about 25 million wheat cents, about 5,000 bags of 5,000 count unsearched wheat cent bags off of eBay, tons of solid date rolls, just went through tons of coins. I didn't have a lot of knowledge at the time, and I pulled out what I thought were the best coins. If I saw something that looked like it might be a variety or an heir, I saved it. If it seemed like it had some mint luster or was in better condition than the average coins that I found. It has turned out that a lot of the coins I pulled out appear now with more knowledge to be cleaned and damaged, and just kind of problem BU coins showing mint luster but having some environmental damage. However, we have had some luck, and we have been pulling out some repunch mint marks. So basically I'll go through these at about this zoom level here. We'll go through all the coins. Any coins that appear like they may have an error or something that we want to look at closer, I'll put off into a pile. Any coins with a mint mark, we'll put in a separate pile, and at the end of the show we'll go and look for repunch mint marks. So that's pretty much the plan for this stream. We did 6 episodes of shows yesterday. I think we had we opened a box of coins, foreign coins, and that was 2 episodes, and then I believe we had 4 Coin Vault has opened episodes. This morning took me a little while to get going. I had a large backlog of different PCGS graded coins that I had collected that I was meaning to post on eBay, so I made short videos for all those. I'm all caught up. Everything is on eBay now. So we'll start going through these now. Hope everybody is having a beautiful day. And we did find some, or I did get to post some really beautiful coins. This one it looks like it has some die chips in the left wheat stalk. So we'll take a closer look at those, just make sure it's not some crud, but it definitely appears like there are some little pieces of metal that are extra there. It was probably a worn die, and some pieces broke off of it and ended up in the wheat stalk. So those are always kind of cool. We may see some lamination errors, we may see some cuds here, and at the end we might be lucky enough to see some repunchment marks. These 1953 Ps, they obviously do not have mint marks, so we're not going to be finding any on them. I believe 2017 is the only Philadelphia mint, coin with a mint mark on it. And so I was able to post some really nice coins. I had gotten a 1796 Liberty Cap large cent. It was in poor condition, but it was graded by PCGS, and it had the gold shield on it, so it is definitely confirmed to be a 1796 Liberty Cap, and it was pretty cool looking, even though it was extremely worn. Poor is a 1 on a scale between 1 and 70, which coins are graded on. So even in a 1 condition, it had a pretty price tag. And I was very happy to add that to my PCGS registry set, because even though it is a very, very low quality coin, it is able to add to my registry set because it's not genuine. I did have one other one. It had a little bit better details, but it was damaged and ungradable. But poor is considered a gradable coin. The other highlight today that I was able to post on eBay was I had gotten a 1953 proof 68 Lincoln wheat cent, and so I was able to add that to my registry set. I've been trying very hard to get proof 68s. They don't come by often on eBay or other auction sites, and so whenever I see one I try to pick them up, but I generally get outbid on them. So that was a long journey getting that one. I've never had a 1953 proof 68. My old, the best one that I had, I believe, was a 1955 proof 68, and that was kind of like my favorite proof wheat cent. And it actually, someone offered me a price that I could not refuse on it, and so I sold it. That one took me 3 years to get, and so I'll probably never see another one again. And if I do, I probably won't be able to afford it. But luckily, another one, possibly, I don't know, I think 1955 is possibly a better year. But I was extremely excited. I also got a bunch of other proof wheat cents. I think I had got a 56, a 55, a 56, a 57, and a 58. None of them, obviously were as good as the proof 68 that I got. But the proof 1958 was proof 1958 or proof 66 cameo. So I was able to add another cameo coin to my collection, which I do go through quite a lot of proof wheat cents in their mint cellos, and so that'll give me a nice tool to be able to compare different coins to see if they have cameo. It definitely helps if you have a cameo coin in hand to be able to compare it against one that's in raw form, so it's a good diagnostic tool. Same thing if you have graded coins or confirmed repunch mint marks or different varieties. It's very handy to already have one so that you can compare them. And fortunately, there are resources online where you can check out very nice photos of repunched mint marks, such as coppercoins.com and Variety Vista and Konica. They have a pretty good catalog. None of them are complete. Some have different ones than others, so it's always good to check them all out. Chuck over at coppercoins.com, he's also on YouTube. He does a really, really good job. So I highly recommend him, and he's here on YouTube, like I said, so he does shows where he does roll hunts, and if you watch his shows, you will learn a lot about coins. I highly, highly recommend it. And he's always happy to answer questions. So if you guys have questions about coins, he is definitely a good person to ask. And so other than the little die chips there, I don't think we've really seen anything super interesting. This one looks like it's been cleaned. You can see towards the bottom and throughout the fields it's much brighter in different areas, yet it appears worn and scratched and damaged. A coin like this shouldn't have brighter areas like that. It's a good indication that it has been cleaned. This one says air on it, so we'll see if there's anything. The 3 looks like it possibly has some machine doubling. It looks like there's a die crack in Lincoln's head. The doubling is probably from a worn die. We're going to check this one out a little bit closer. Just the one also looks interesting, but I believe this is probably just from die deterioration and it's considered machine damage. And it also kind of looks like there is a die chip on the reverse. So this is kind of like, just because you find something on the front, it doesn't mean that there can't be something on the back as well. Up above the die crack, it almost looks like there's a little bit of damage as well. And it's even possible, that's why I like to look at things up close, it's possible that it was kind of gouged and the metal was just pushed downwards. But we can check it out. We will see what's going on with it. And it's probably going to be a pretty quiet stream today. Like I was talking about copper coins earlier, I'm pretty sure Jessica, who does auctions for Chuck on the weekends, I'm pretty sure she is having an auction today of some beautiful, beautiful coins. So if you guys are interested in picking up some beautiful coins, they do have wonderful auctions on their Sunday show. And always make sure to register first. It's really easy. There's just an email. Just send your name and your email address that you use for PayPal, and they'll register you up. And you just need to do that before you can bid. But really nice guys. I picked up some nice items off of Chuck, and he's got some really good quality coins. So this one has a little bit of mint luster on it. It also has a little bit of environmental damage. It's kind of been toned down a bit. It's still fairly attractive. I don't see much wear on the cheek or the chin, which would be where early wear happens on coins. Same with the wheat lines. They look pretty full. Maybe just a tiny bit of wear. But coins, they do change color as time goes on. They all start off beautiful red from the mint, and then they turn a red-brown, and then they turn brown. And this one shows pretty obvious sign of cleaning here. You can see the fields are much brighter. They almost want to look like they have a red appearance, but it's not original mint surface. It's just it's the way that when you clean a coin, the coin kind of brightens up a little bit. If you guys have coins and they have stuff on them, just leave it there. If someone is going to want to buy them, they're going to want them in their original condition. Once you clean a coin, it removes the surface of the coin, the original surface luster, and there's no way to repair that or replace it. And so this is kind of a good example of a coin that shows uncirculated details. It's kind of a red-brown color, but it also has some stuff on it. And it's got a bunch of maybe little carbon spots as well, those little darker black spots. And so I collected a lot of these, and wowzers, and just didn't really know what the value was. I could see that there was some original detail on it, and that didn't show much wear. This one looks like it was glued into a book or perhaps like a project. And so I put away coins like this thinking, well, it's way better than the circulated ones that I have, so surely they must command a premium. But most mint state wheat cents, they kind of have to be in proof 60, or I'm sorry, mint state 64 before they really start to have value. And for most wheat cents in the 50s at 64, it's going to be like $5. And so anything that's super worn or brown, if there's not an error or it's not a variety, they're not worth a lot of money. Like a very, very circulated wheat cent, it's worth about 5 cents. And so just because there is a little bit of luster on the coin, it doesn't necessarily make it worth money. The older you go, if a coin back in the teens or 20s has original mint luster, or it's a more rare date, then it's going to add some value to it for sure. But a lot of the coins from the 40s or 50s are still available. People kind of hoarded the rolls, and so there are still quite a bit of them around. Like if you go to coppercoins.com, he does a weekly show where he finds original bank-wrapped rolls. He opens them under the microscope. Basically, he sells them all out to people watching the show. Usually, say on Sunday when the auctions are going, they sell all the spots. And so they'll sell 50 spots, and all the spots go within a couple minutes at max. And then the next show that he has, like he'll release the dates that he's going to open the rolls, and then people come and get to see the coins that they randomly get out of the original bank-wrapped roll. And it's pretty cool, but the biggest advantage of it is he is like super, super knowledgeable. This one is interesting. It might just be some debris in there, but it almost looks like there's a little line of metal. But Chunk is super knowledgeable, so as he goes through the rolls, he knows all of the varieties. And so as he goes through, he'll be pointing out that, oh, there is this one's a double die, or this one has a repunch mint mark. And so if your coin randomly happens to be that one, not only do you get that beautiful coin, but you also get it confirmed of what it is, and that kind of takes the wonder out of, I found this odd looking coin, what is it? And so whenever I watch a show, I always learn something new. And so when I'm not streaming myself, I try to check out his show and other people's shows. Ken Peavy's show on YouTube here, he's really knowledgeable as well. And Robert Lawson's show, Coin Op, his show is really good. So one of the nice things about YouTube here is we really have a good community of people who are very, very, very knowledgeable. And so you can learn a lot watching the people shows, and if you're left with questions, they're also very, very friendly, and they'll answer your questions. It's really a cool community. I'm glad that I kind of stopped making videos and started looking around and seeing what other people were doing, because that's when I started learning. And I try to pass on any knowledge I've been learning, but I, by all means, am still a rookie here. I'm learning every day. I'm thirsty. I'm hungry for knowledge. And it's been a lot of fun doing these shows as well, because I have very knowledgeable people come in, and they teach me things about the coins I am finding pretty much every show. So that's been really wonderful. It's like an added bonus. So I've been just consistently going here with the 1953s. I do see some 1942 S's in the stack. And once I'm not seeing any 1953 P's here, I'll switch over to that. And we have had pretty good luck with finding repunch mint marks with the San Francisco mints. We haven't had as much luck with the Denver mints. This one looks like it's got possibly a couple die chips in the wheat ear on the left. Seems like the left seems to be catching them all. I definitely find them on the right side, but it's kind of interesting that we are finding lots of them on the left wheat stalk. And it might seem like I'm finding a lot of die chips, but that's just because I went through a lot of coins and I put them all away. This one, it's got a fingerprint on it, but it still shows a lot of a mint luster. A lot of it's turned brown. So this one might be a red-brown. It also looks like it has a little environmental damage. I think it's from the fingerprints on it. In the left field, you can kind of see the long dark lines. And so if you touch a coin, same on the reverse here, that looks like it's a fingerprint. If you touch a coin, the oils in your fingertips react with the surface. It just happens. I mean, oxygen reacts with the copper. It's a chemical reaction. And so the older these coins get, excuse me, the more damage that just naturally happens. And that's one of the reasons that some of these older coins in really good conditions are worth money, because they don't stay like this forever. And so the older the coin is, for the most part, and the better condition it is, oftentimes the more it will be worth money. Some years definitely got hoarded and protected. Sometimes there was like hype. Hype is something that's happened all through history. And when hype happens, people get excited and they hoard things, believing they're going to be worth money. But one thing that happens is when everybody hoards them because they think they're going to be worth money, then all of a sudden they end up not being quite as rare because they've all been preserved and kept in good condition. These 1942 S's are in pretty good condition. Like I was saying before, like you really want something, like anything like from late 30s to 50s, you want it in MS64 red or better for it to even be worth like $5. There are exceptions, but if your coin isn't pretty much full red, you're probably not going to get more than $5–10 for it. As it goes older, if you get into the low 30s to 20s, you know, an MS64 coin can be worth quite a bit. This coin might have a tiny bit of mint luster around the right side of the rim, but it has been cleaned. The left and right field are basically, and Lincoln, that's all cleaning. That's what cleaning does to a coin. It might have had some damage before, but all the mint luster has just been stripped away. And so it's like you can see the wheat stalks, they still have really good detail, but that cleaning just destroyed the surface of the coin. It might look a little bit better when you first do it, but it is not improving the quality of the coin. This one has quite a few scratches on it. It's got a little bit of green environmental damage. And so when we go to look at the repunch mint marks, we'll zoom in and we'll try to get as close as we can to the S's on these 1942 S's. And what we'll be looking for is just signs that there is kind of an S over an S. And so you'll see like little pieces of metal inside. And like ones like this, due to the amount of damage that is on the coin, we probably will just say, nope, can't tell. With mint state coins, it's way easier to spot a variety, but the more damaged or more scratched or more environmental damage is around the date and the mint mark, the harder it becomes to identify if a coin is a variety. Some people who are super knowledgeable, there's things that are called die markers, which if the person knows the variety, they'll know what the whole die of the coin looks like. And so while they won't be able to clearly see the mint mark, they'll know what other things on the coin to look for to know that it's the same die that the mint mark is on. And so that's kind of cool. Some people take it to the next level. So this one shows quite a bit of wear on it. It's got a little bit of environmental damage. I don't think it has been cleaned, but it is kind of worn and damaged. The rim looks a little bit scuffed up. Maybe it got like dragged across the floor, stepped on. This one kind of looks like it may have had some very light cleaning. Sometimes people polish their coins to kind of clean them up. If you're adding any kind of anything to clean them, it's just destroying them. Like you put a coin in the washing machine, it might come out all pretty and shiny looking, but it's destroyed. This one is very clearly cleaned. You can see just all the little nicks and kind of like scratches on the coin. Yeah, it says I'm bright and happy, but the coin is really not happy. It's like it's been skinned. All of its original skin is gone. The reverse, the cleaning doesn't look as bad. And I'd almost say I'm not sure if the reverse has been cleaned. The details still look really good. It may just be brown. Like the final stage for coins is they turn brown, or at least for copper. This one I can see a little bit of kind of AU details. One moment, I'll be right back. I forgot to let the kitty out. Hi, Sweetkins, would you like outside? I hear you calling. Alright, I am back. And you guys will not have a growling in the back. So coins are graded on a scale between 1 and 70. Coins that have a mint that are graded in mint state are from 60 to 70. Coins that are almost uncirculated are from 50 to 59. And so an AU coin, it's almost uncirculated. This coin still has a little bit of luster on it, quite a bit. It's mostly a brown color, but on his cheek and chin you can see there's some wear on the coat. There's a little bit of wear. And so once a coin shows signs of circulation, it is no longer mint state. Mint state is the way it came from the mint. And so this coin, I would call it AU. It's got a little bit of damage on the back, a little scratching on the letters, but it's still a pretty good example of a wheat cent. So we'll keep on moving. It seems like we have some 1953 Ds now. The mint mark on this one looks kind of interesting. We'll zoom in on it when we get there, but it kind of looks like there's a line to the left of the D, to the west of the D, and if we're lucky, that'll be a D over D. And we just won't know until we zoom in. I can see things, but you always kind of gotta like get in closer to be able to verify things. And some of these 1953s are looking a little bit better. There are some scratches on this one. And I'm not seeing anything super special, but we'll take a look at it closer. Once we're all through here, there's probably about 30-40 more that we're just gonna do a brief glance at here before we zoom in on the camera. So this one, there's just a little bit of wear. While there is still a good amount of luster, I'd say the coin is brown, but there is some wear on the cheek and his forehead and the chin. So this is an AU coin. In this condition, it might be like AU 58. It just very, very light wear, and the surfaces still really look great. I don't see any, if that was the one with scratches on it, I can't remember if it was that one or the one before. Here we seem to have run into some more 1942 S's, and this one looks like it's got quite a bit of wear on it, so this is not a mint state brown coin. This might be kind of at the bottom of AU, or it might be like an extra fine. Extra fines, I believe, go from 40 to 50 or 40 to 49. And while it goes from a spread of 40 to 49, really you only see 40s and 45s. I've never seen a 41, a 42, a 43, a 44, a 46, 47, 48, 49. And so while there are kind of in-between grades, major grading companies, they don't put them there. And so some coins, you know, could or should be like a 48, but they don't really get designated that grade. It just kind of skips to the next. And so some 45s will be better than other 45s. And I'm not 100% sure why they don't do it. It definitely seems like from like MS 64 to 66, it seems like there should be 10 more grades in between there. But trying to grade a coin from 64 to 66, there's just so many different little things that kind of affect a coin's grade. The mint mark on that one looks a little interesting. It might just be a little piece of dust, but we're going to check it out when we zoom in. This one's got some heavy wear on it. Still has a little bit of luster. Might have been rubbed a little bit, but I don't think this one has been cleaned. This one has quite a lot more wear. If you look at the bottom at 6 o'clock, the rim almost looks like it's been dinged a little bit. It's a little bit flat on one side. And so there's, you know, a bunch of things that can damage a coin. A coin that's been cleaned, it's damaged. A coin with lots of scratches on it, or a big scratch, it's been damaged. A coin with like a gouge or just like a scrape where the metal's been cleaved off of it, it is damaged. A coin that's been in the ground and exposed to a lot of oxygen and the environment has reacted to it, it has been damaged. So this one kind of looks like a red-brown, but I believe it would be designated a brown coin. When it's just a little bit of trace red on it around the edges and around the lettering, and the fields have pretty much turned brown, it's a brown coin. So I don't think we've seen anything interesting other than a couple die chips on the reverses. Maybe we'll find a cut here, maybe we'll find a cool lamination error. I feel like I've been finding a lamination error in about at least one a box. So we have a good chance to show an example here, but I didn't go through these before making the videos. I just grab a box from the vault. There's just so many of them. It's ridiculous. I'm going to be doing this show forever. And I'm also doing other shows, so it's going to be a few lifetimes of going through this. Now this one, I don't know if it might be a planchet flaw, it might be a piece of the metal, like it just wasn't a smooth planchet before they struck the coin. It could be damage. We'll take a closer look. We'll see if the wheat line is printed into the edge of it there. But sometimes planchets, they're just not that, the smooth, perfect surface that they're supposed to be made on. And so that is something that happened at the mint that shouldn't have happened at the mint, and so they're considered errors. This one's a little interesting. If you look at the T in the word trust, the second T, it's very, very smooth. It's starting to disappear. The S is very flat. There are errors that can kind of do that. It's most likely die deterioration, where the die is just really worn down, and it's just, kind of slamming onto the coin when it strikes, and it's just flattening the coin. And some of the detail is getting lost. So we're going to be taking a look at this one up close, but I'll put that on the side just so we can see those letters. I definitely would find coins that were like starting to miss letters. I thought, oh, these must be errors, so I flipped them, put them away, and now as I'm learning more, same thing with the S and the T, or at least the T. The T is a little bit faint here. And there are a lot of errors. There's so many errors. There's so many varieties. If you read Chuck's book, Looking Through Lincoln Cents, there he kind of like goes over all the different kind of double dies, and he explains like how the coins changed over the years. I know Lincoln looks the same on every coin here, but like almost every year they did subtle changes to things. And so it's really interesting to read about them all, and it helps you understand why things are the way they are. A couple other books I can recommend. I just started reading the authoritative reference on Lincoln Cents by John Wexler and Kevin Flynn. It's a really good resource to learn about Lincoln Cents, and I haven't started reading it, but I have a copy of Walter Breen's Complete Encyclopedia of U.S. and Colonial Coins, and that is a really good resource. And they are getting expensive. They are very old. Like Chuck is like a living coin god. He wrote one of the books, and he's still got a lot of youth left, and he's still around, and just a vast amount of knowledge to learn from. He's very inspiring. But I believe some of the other guys, they have passed away, and so while some books keep getting kind of revised and stuff, those chapters in coin history have just kind of stopped, and so those books are pretty much out of print. I mean, even Chuck's is out of print now. He now has coppercoins.com, where he does have you can go and look at different pictures of RPMs and different varieties, and so that's really handy. Here we have a 1943 P steel cent. It kind of looks like the 4 is a little bit faint on here. I believe there is a variety where the 4 completely disappears. This one could have just rusted off, or it could just be faint here. We'll take a closer look at that. There's definitely some famous 1943 varieties. Here's another example, a little better condition, but it looks like it's definitely been exposed to the elements. It's got a little scratch in the right field, a little bit of rim damage above the T. And if you guys ever find a 1943 wheat cent that is copper, or looks like it's copper, if it really is one, it's worth a fortune. But it's a very counterfeited coin. It's very easy to counterfeit. People just do a little science experiment where they add a layer of copper to the coin. However, the inside still will be the original steel. And so if you hold a magnet to your copper-looking coin, if it's actually copper, it won't stick, but steel is very magnetic. And so it's just a quick little test. This one is very worn. very worn. Looks like it has been cleaned as well. All those brighter areas, while it's so scratched, very good indication that it's been cleaned. This one looks like it has some brown original mint luster. There's definitely some spotting starting to happen on it. And so I put away just many of these coins that, you know, they were way better than the circulated coins in the bags. But, you know, now I know that there are lots and lots of most of these years and dates still available. This one's clearly been cleaned. You guys can clearly see the scratches on it. It's got some environmental damage too. Not so pretty. Little rim ding. I believe that's a rim ding. I'm going to just call that a rim ding. It's possible there's a little piece of metal missing from the planchet there. I'm going to take a coffee break. Looks like we have a couple steel cents that are in a little bit better than average circulated condition. Steel, like copper, reacts to the environment pretty well, and steel rusts. And so while copper generally will, you know, turn brown, it'll eventually turn green, and steel will start to rust. This one looks like it's slightly off center. It looks like maybe the rim disappears at about 2 o'clock. It might still be there, but it's not off center enough to be worth anything. A little bit interesting to look at. This one still has a little bit of its original steel surface. The 1943 steel cent obviously cannot be designated as a red coin because it's not copper. And if you collect other coins like nickels, dimes, I believe the designation of red is the only kind of coin, copper coins are the only ones that have something like that. Everything else would be like an MS66. But copper ones get an extra designation at the end. And this one almost looks like, I don't know, this one looks like it's almost uncirculated, but I feel like all those little darker spots very likely rust. And so, and here's what they usually start to look like right before they rust. They just kind of get like a white milkiness to them, and the coin just disappears. If you're buying high graded ones even like this, even in a PCGS slab, they're just so reactive to the environment. You really have to be careful. If I would say if you see a graded one and it's starting to have any of that on it, it is just going to grow, and it grows pretty fast. I'm always really wary of steel cents. It's like I really enjoy high graded coins, but I've seen so many like MS67 steel cents in PCGS slabs, and they're just starting to get like these white gray kind of like foggy areas on them, and it's just downhill. You can't repair them. They're just done. It's like copper more if it's like in a nice environment like a PCGS slab. They tend to at the worst brown. PCGS offers a guarantee like on their coins that they will be the grade that they are, that it says on the slab. The one caveat is they do not guarantee the red. And so unfortunately for me, a lover and collector of coins, if I buy something that's graded as red, they will not guarantee that it will stay red, because they can't, because it's a natural process. They would be fools to. You know, unless they created a slab that somehow was 100% guaranteed to protect against the elements. looks like we have some 1944 S's. This one is obviously cleaned. Almost looks like the cleaning job is starting to have a little bit of a patina. Usually I'd use the word toned on a coin because it would be the kind of natural toning that a coin has. When a coin tones, it goes from red to red, brown to brown, but sometimes in those in-between stages, they'll turn all colors of the rainbow. I worked with bronze and sculpture at school a lot, and we didn't use the word toned, we used the word patina, because there was a lot of different ways to change the color of bronze, which bronze is essentially copper. So there's a ton of different ways that you can, there's a ton of chemicals that will react to copper. I was actually just watching, I was just curious because I know you're not supposed to clean coins, but my YouTube keeps bringing up videos of how to clean coins. And I'm like, oh, this is bad information to be out there. People are going to click on this and then think they're going to learn how to clean their coins. It would be fine for pocket change if you had some really dirty pocket change, but they were just putting coins in every single different kind of environment that they could think of. Hey, Engineer Corner, everything is well. I totally came and checked out your channel again last night, and actually I watched it all night long. I was having trouble sleeping. I like the little dog there at the bottom, but very interesting channel. Wow, that looks kind of cool. I don't know what's going up on in the right field there. It almost looks like a memorial clashed against it, but memorials didn't exist. I'm curious about that one. I'm going to take a closer look at that. But yeah, I was meaning to come and check out your channel again. So I watched your live stream for like 8 hours last night. I think from about midnight to about 8 a.m. in the morning. And this one's pretty much done. I have no idea why I put this in there. I'm not going to be able to see the mint mark. I'm not going to be able to see anything. Dun, 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 dun. Looks like this one may have had some light cleaning. There's just, there's obviously some original surface, but like the right and left field and Lincoln, it looks like it's been cleaned. How was your day going, Engineer Corner? Yeah, right before I was trying to go to bed, I saw that you were live, and so I came and checked you out. You kept piquing my interest. You kept coming and doing drive-bys and slamming my like button. Awesome. Well, keep the streaming going. Did you stream all night long? I was kind of in and out of it. I was there the whole time, but I was trying to sleep. And just it gave me something to kind of look at. Well, thank you. Yeah, I try to check everybody out that comes here. Like yesterday, I streamed all day long, so I didn't have any time. But then I was like, I don't know, the last week I've, been super tired. I've been streaming extra. I've been burning the candle on both ends. And then I go to bed, and then I just lay there. I'm like, why can't I sleep? This is odd. I normally like lay down and I'm done. I'm out. Good night. And I've just been looking through this box here. We haven't found anything crazy. We found a couple die chips, a couple things to look at closer. We haven't gone to look at the RPMs yet, if there are any. We still got about 15 more coins before we zoom in. It was funny though, I don't know if I trust YouTube. Like, I streamed for like 13, 14 hours yesterday just making content. And I like woke up this morning and it said I had 13 hours, but there was like over 10 people in a couple of the streams I did for like the entire stream. And I'm like, I thought I was going to get like 50, 60 hours, like minimum. And so I don't know how they do it, or what. Maybe there's more of a delay than a day. Um, but I think I think I'm at about 1,050 hours, and I've been doing about 40 hours of streaming a week. Um, so I don't know exactly how they judge hours watched, but one of these days I'll figure out. I think you just have to pay them. You have to pay them if you want watch time, but I just have coins. I don't have money. If they want to accept pennies, I'll give them pennies. You sure were able to like cram a lot of information into your page there. It's kind of cool. It looks like it reminds me of like how CNN used to be. Okay. Well, that's good to know. It seemed like every time I would check like in the morning, like the day after, and so I figured maybe at midnight or sometime in the middle of the night they updated things, but I just didn't know how it worked. It's like I try to keep track of it just to see how I'm doing. And I did the math, and it's like basically you need to get about 400 watch hours a month if you're going to hit 4,000 within a year. So it is definitely my goal to get going that much. But it just takes consistency, I think, unless you have like friends who just like want to like sit there watching your content over and over again. But this one looks like it's been a little bit cleaned. The kind of planes around the lettering are just too red. They shouldn't be lighter than the rest of the coin there like that. Very lightly cleaned, but I mean even Lincoln here, he's been cleaned. I thought I was going to hit my watch hours way before subscribers, and it seemed to turn out to be the other way. I'm like well over 1,000 subscribers, and still trying to work on watch hours. Maybe if I do some like giveaways, I was gonna start doing some giveaways once I hit 1,000 subscribers, and I'm there now. I just need to. I know that there's like a lot of like laws and rules and stuff, and I just need to figure out what the proper way to do it is. I wish I could just be like, all right, I'm giving this away now. Who wants it? But it's like, it seems like they made laws about just giving away stuff on YouTube. I'm like, what? Okay. I'll look forward to your return. Let me know when you're back. This one looks pretty solid brown, but it's got some environmental damage on it. We've got about 10 more coins here, I think, and then we can zoom in and start seeing if we can find some fun stuff. A little scratch going into the T up at the top there. Fingerprints galore on the reverse. These are things you don't want to see on your coins. It looks like heavy wear. Lincoln is also very, very glossy, very reflective, like all the light just shines. That almost makes me feel like this coin has been, see all the scratches on Lincoln's head, yet he's still beaming. Even though it looks like they did a good job, I think this one has been cleaned. I feel like they must have used like a product that didn't like eat away much of it. I don't know, a better cleaning job, I think. Alright, next up here, another 1942S. He's pretty worn. Some environmental damage. Nothing special. We'll keep moving. I'll bring the stack closer to me. Do us all a favor. I definitely need to change my setup here a little bit. Like, I know you guys only see my head, but it's like I'm like this. This is definitely not ergonomic. It's kind of hilarious. I was sitting like this for like 13 hours yesterday. Some sweet environmental damage. If only environmental damage was a good thing. Like these coins. Oh my gosh. I would be retiring. Not today, my friends. Not today. It's a fingerprint on the bottom of the coin. Some scratches. Not so sure about the fields there. May have been cleaned. But, you know, at the very least, looking through these coins, it'll give you guys an education of what to look for in clean coins. It's like when you look for wear, you look for wear on the wheat stalks on the right and the left. They're usually the first thing to get worn on the reverse. As you can see on the right one, it looks like it's, you know, it's had some wear on it. On Lincoln here, usually his cheek and chin, as you can see here, on the lower part of his coat, on the back of his head above his ear. Those are kind of some of the highest points on the coin. And so once it starts to show those, it's no longer going to be a mint state coin. It's going to be almost uncirculated. This one has been cleaned. You can just, you know, by the time a coin has this many scratches, I know I've said this 5 times this stream, but it shouldn't still have that kind of bright red appearance. And probably the coin looked more the way on the wheat stalk on the right, how it's kind of a dark brown. It was probably more of a color like that. This one still has some original mint luster on it. I would still call it a brown coin. There is a little bit of wear, just a tiny bit. There's quite a few scratches on it. I'd say all the scratches, I'm not sure if they would disqualify it from being gradable, but I would say this is probably more of an AU coin, just because the scratches and the little lines, it's signs of circulation. And this one definitely has some wear on it. It's all the luster except for in like the word in. It's all gone, and that might even be cleaning up there. But it looks a pretty nice brown color. There is some environmental damage on the reverse here. I was actually interested, like Chuck was actually talking about that you could clean, yes, clean, I'm saying don't clean, but you can clean the green stuff off of it. The blue on this one is very cool. But if you look at the surfaces, there's so many little marks on it. I think that this has been cleaned, and I'm guessing that is kind of why all the colors are happening. This might be a washing machine penny. It seems like laundry detergent really brings out some fun colors in coins. However, the reverse, it kind of looks more natural of a color. So I'm not really sure what happened to this coin. And if you were to send off this coin, like let's say it was like, you know, really, really nice to PCGS, and they couldn't, it just gave them a question mark in their head, they would just write genuine on it. If they can't confirm if it's been cleaned or not. Like you can see the wear on his cheek, on his chin, on the top of his coat, like up above his ear. Yeah, it's wanting to like appear like it's bright and lustrous. I think there's quite a few colors we're not even seeing in there. Yeah, the coin is actually a really cool color, but I don't think it's natural. Let's check this one out. Environmental damage, green. It's a good sign of environmental damage. It might not have been stored in the best way. But it's not going to make it worth money, unfortunately. Even with all that, you know, luster showing, it's kind of done. Pardon me 1 second. Try not to cough into the microphone. Alright, so we will take a look at these ones here. Just had different little things on it. I'm going to have to adjust the microscope. I'm going to have to turn on the light. And so I'm going to have to focus it, so just bear with me a second. I guess it would help if I put a coin under it. And one thing I did find, but just a second. I will get rid of these lights, hopefully. I believe these were just all die chips. This one was flipped over, so whatever it was should be on the reverse. What was going on with this one? I totally don't see it. That's hilarious. Normally I remember what's going on with these. Sorry guys. I do believe this one had a mint mark on it, so we will check the mint mark. And when I looked at it with my eyes, I didn't see it either. Alright. So we'll check out the mint mark. When I look at the mint marks on these, it's like I want to see something instantaneous. If I can't, it's most likely not there. A lot of, especially the San Francisco ones, a lot of them are a lot more obvious. So I don't see anything there. Just gotta check and make sure I didn't flip it over by accident. Alright, I'd say nothing there. I think this this might have been the weaker looking 4. It's like you know, the 4 on the die probably got really, really worn out. It's possible that it rusted off, but I know there is a variety where there's just no 4 there. And so I thought that one looked pretty cool. This one is obviously in very, very circulated condition. It's pretty damaged. But I still thought that one was interesting. That mint mark kind of looks interesting. It's possible it just got a little scratched up at the top corner there, but there also looks like there is like a clear line of separation on the bottom. I'm going to put this in our maybe RPM, but I also think there was something else going on with this coin. I think it was like the T looked pretty faint. And I think also on the reverse, was there a die chip on the reverse of this one too? Maybe not, but that one looked pretty interesting. One of these had a die chip, and this one had like a gouge in it. And I think that this one is probably just a gouge. I feel like we would see, I mean, I almost see the line where it connects, but usually it somehow still stamps the impression of whatever should be above it down into that little groove. I don't know how that damage would have happened, but I think that one might be damaged. And I'd say this mint mark looks a little interesting too. But I have a harder time confirming with the Denver mint than I do with the San Francisco. And I think I just need to look at a lot more. And so these are the little die chips that I was talking about. It's just extra little pieces of metal that got stuck onto it. I believe they break off of the die, or they broke off of another coin and ended up smashed into this. And they'll sit higher than the rest of the coin, so they're often the first thing to kind of get wear. And so oftentimes they will end up kind of shiny like that just because they've been worn down. But they're definitely on top of the coin and not gouged out of the coin. And that one didn't have a mint mark. So I believe we were just looking at the mint mark on this one. And there's quite a lot of stuff inside there. I don't see anything just popping out at me. I see kind of like a little bit of worn die on the 9. If you look, there's like, it's partially filled. And I believe this was another die chip. And you can see there's just like little extra bits of metal in there. And that one didn't have a date, so this one I think was the one that had like multiple things going on with it. Does not appear the date was one of them. Look at the machine. I'm assuming that's machine damage, but see, this is one of the things that confuse me when like you can see like what looks kind of like clear doubling on like every single letter, and then somebody that knows stuff, they still say no, it's just machine damage. So I think this one looked like it had a die crack on the head. What else did it have? I feel like this one had 3 different things going on with it. But what year was this? 1953? I'll have to look it up. Oh yeah, the 3 looked like it had like kind of a ghost 3, kind of like a poor man double die does. Kind of disappears on some angles, but if you look to the right of the 3, you can see the shape of a 3. And the 5, like basically every device on this coin has some sort of doubleness to it. And it's what I believe it is just a really worn down die. But like 10 to 20 years ago, I would have said, this is a double die. Awesome. And this one has little die chips on it as well on the reverse. And looks like it has a lamination error as well over here. It goes right through the wheat stalk. Wow, this one's got it all. It's got die chips, lamination error, and just super, super worn doubling. That's a pretty cool coin. I can see why I wrote an E on that when I put it away. Oh, what's going on there? Is that a really big die chip or damage? Interesting. And was that what we were looking at, or was there, oh yeah, there's interesting. There's like die chips in it, but it almost looks like it caused, or like it almost looks like it almost looks like a die chip on a lamination error. It's almost like it cracked the die. Take a little coffee, and then the rest of these we're going to search for RPMs. So wish us luck. Let's find some clear ones. And I don't know, it's like this one's weird because it's like you want to say that there's like a doubled, like an extra area to the right, like the black, but then it's like you look at all the lettering and they're all surrounded by black, and so it would make sense that the D is the same. I'm just gonna say no. And it's sad too because the entire side of this coin is all bright. I'm going to grab a chunk of these so I don't have to keep reaching behind. That looks pretty interesting because there looks like there is a shelf on the bottom and a shelf on the inside. I can't say yes, but I'm definitely going to try to look this one up after the show. It kind of looks good to me, and there's not like debris in there. That was that one that with like the bright blue kind of toning on it too. And I'm going to say no on this one. It's like if I find an RPM, I want it to be like, yes. And granted, I might be saying no to some that actually are, but it's just because I don't know all the RPMs. Like, I want ones that, like, you can see 2Ds on it, you know. I don't want ones that just, you have to imagine it. I want to see, like, a clear second D. And I know that's not how all of them are, so... But it's like with the S's, it's like I can see the S over an S. And there are like S over D's and, you know, different stuff like that too. Alright, so on this one, if you look under the bottom, like if you look in the middle of the S, you can see extra metal down at the bottom. And I believe at the top of the S there is also under, so it's like this one looks like it has an S under the S. And so it's like, I'd want to say yes to this one. I don't know what kind it is. I'm guessing that one of those serifs at least is kind of split. It's like I'd like to see a second part clearly. Like we definitely found we found a couple 1954 S's that are, it's the 004 variety, and it's so clear. I think that's my favorite one that I've found so far. And now this one looks a little interesting to the north. Not only is there like a little line to the north and something to the east, and kind of something to the south, but there's also that extra line above it, which could be kind of a remnant, or it could just be a scratch. But I really can't, I'm going to put this in the maybe, but it's like oftentimes when I go back and look at stuff, it's just all the examples you look at on the sites, they're just very clear. Not all of them are. This one looks like it looks like there's kind of like sparkles inside the flip, and it makes it very hard to focus. There's also a lot of grime inside there. I'm just gonna say no. We've got a lot of these to look through. We want to find ones that are like yes, yes, yes. And sometimes too there'll be like a scratch on the coin and it'll just give the appearance. It'll make it look like the serif splits, or that it's like has a line, clear line of doubling. I say no on this one. I believe that it's just green grime underneath. So I'm going to say no on this one. It's curious, but I believe it's a no. This one looks a bit smushed. However, it's curious, like in between, it does look like there's metal, like even where it wouldn't have been smushed. But that's also, it's like very easy to confuse ones that have been smushed or damaged, because it really does widen them. But I'm going to say no, but I'm going to remember this one. I'm going to put this in the maybe because I just want to check it out. But it definitely looks like it's been smushed. I don't think that is one. I think it's just been smushed and given it some interesting appearance. And this one looks interesting as well. It's like the way that the tip of the S just kind of goes down like that. It's like on the inside it almost looks like the serif is split. That it could just be grime. It probably just is grime, but that's what we want to see, like a little line on the inside that looks like that, but we want to see it look clear. I'm gonna put this in the maybe just because of the way the S goes down on the end there. I just want to see if there's any RPMs that look like that. I don't think this is one, but it's gonna help me learn. It's like every time you can like look at something like that and then like rule it out for the future, because you'll see a lot of coins that look the same. And this one's interesting because it almost looks like there's something inside, but then to the north, it's probably just a scratch. The like little part on the bottom there, on the first curve going up, that almost looks like it's just a scratch or it got dented. But that is kind of something we'd be looking for. It's like we want to see like a little S underneath, or a little something underneath. And we can't see clearly in this one. I'm going to say no. This one is kind of interesting. Like you can see something along the bottom and along the top. Like the top looks totally doubled, but it's like, I feel like if it's doubled on the top, that little piece of metal, that should be in the inside on the top. Like if it's like to the north, all the little pieces of metal I feel like should go to the north. One shouldn't go north and then one south. But hopefully we'll find some nice clear ones. Like really clear ones. I think that is just all dirt. And if you guys have thoughts or opinions on these, always share them. I'm trying to learn here too. And so like to the west, it almost looks doubled. The way the S kind of comes down, it almost looks like there's a little bit more. I haven't gotten to look at a lot of 1942 S's under the loop. It really helps to have a nice clean, clear strike to be able to compare. Like on the left there, to the west, it almost looks like the coin has been struck and dented. If you see that little shine right next to where it looks doubled, my guess is that is where it's been kind of like flattened. And when the metal gets flattened, it like oftentimes gets very bright. Have some more coffee. I need a coffee maker next to my work area here so I can always have hot coffee. I'm going to say no. It's just the coin, all the date and everything, it just looks super scratched up and there's a lot of junk around it. Some of these are definitely, I feel like the ones in the 40s are much more worn, which makes it harder. I'm going to say no. Apparently I need to clean my fingers. I cleared that dust away. I left a smear. I always try to wash them good before I work, but all these are in flips, so. See, it's like this is like at least, you know, there's nothing there, but it's like everything is very clear to look at. It's like, it's much easier to say yes or no when they all look like that. And then when we look at ones like this, it's like half the S is gone. We're gonna say no. And there does look like there's a split in the middle of the S, but I really can't tell. It could just be a scratch. There's lots of scratches on the coin. So we're gonna say no. I believe that is just grime. And we should be saying yes on all these. If we were saying yes on all these, we probably have been looking under a microscope for too long. And I believe this one is just damaged. Some of these I feel like I need to take out of the flip and just take like the most delicate little toothpick in the world and just see if that stuff is solid or not. But it's really hard to do in the flip, obviously. I'm gonna say no. The nice thing about the flip is it's like I'm pretty much putting the flip right up against the microscope because I found out that none of the lights show when I do that. And when I try to do it otherwise, it gets kind of extreme. That one looks kind of interesting. It kind of looks like the serif is split up on the northwest. And then it also looks like there is like kind of a second ridge on the right and the left. Which if it's kind of looking like it on both sides, that's usually a good sign. I think that might be one. Alright, grab this pile, bring it up close. I'm gonna say yes. This is funny, like now the Denver ones all look really good and the S's all look really bad. Yeah, I mean, not only do we have it on the west and the south, but we also looks like we have just where we'd want it on the inside. I mean, it is possible it's grime, but I don't think it is. It looks like metal to me, and it looks like just the right shape. I don't know which RPM it is, but we will check it out. Or I'll check it out after here. And so one thing I'm going to do, this one looks good. One thing I'm going to do is, once I have all the ones that like kind of like look pretty good, I'm hopefully going to get a better microscope here at some point. But I'm also going to break everything up by the date and mint. And so that when we re-look at things, and especially if I have identified certain things, I will be able to tell you guys what they are, and we'll be able to look at a bunch of different ones. This is just very, very damaged. I want to say I see something, but it could just because the top got like smashed and then it made it look like there's a shelf underneath. Oh no, this one is pretty damaged. It's like I keep wanting to see a split on the top serif, and then I keep wanting to see like little lines, but it's like I can see that the date has been, or the mint mark has been pretty smashed up. And so I think it's just the angles that it got smashed. So I'm going to say no. And if you look at the date up above, it's just surrounded by that black. So I believe that this one is probably just grime, even though on the left side and on the center it looks metallic. I don't know, maybe I'll put this one in the maybe, but all the black going around it, I would definitely say no. I'd say there's a possibility there. But some of these I'm going to need to take out the flip. I think that this one looked like it was smashed when we were looking at it earlier. It does look like it kind of looks like it splits on the bottom. I was going to turn it on another angle. Sometimes when you turn them, everything disappears. Like that might be a little scratch and not a split. It also looks like it kind of splits about halfway, but it also could be a scratch. I'm going to say no. I think this one is just damaged. It looks very, very flattened. Woo. It's jumping. I like kind of like the little line that goes all around this one. It seems like if it was a scratch, it wouldn't follow all the way around the curve there and all the way kind of to the tip. It doesn't look very strong, but it's an interesting place for... I'm going to put this in the maybe. This one looks like it has grime all the way around it. And I'm guessing that is all grime in the inside too. Alright, we have one more pile. Unfortunately, we have not ended up with 3/4 of a box of maybes. I mean, that would be great, but it definitely is not, it wouldn't be helping us. This mint mark looks very, very flat to me. However, in the inside, it does look like there's like a little line of metal going straight up on the western side of the inside. I mean, it might just be a little scratch. I'm having trouble focusing on it as well. I mean, the whole mint mark looks smashed, but then there almost looks like there is something. I mean, it would be very, very small. Like, that's the best angle I can get at it. I'll put it in a maybe. I need to get a better microscope so that, like, we can really, like, zoom in on the tips of the serifs. This one looks very, very flattened. I don't really see anything going on. I'm gonna say no. No. I think this one has been flattened. Gotta say no. It does seem like the 1942 S's, now that I've looked at a few, it seems like the top that curls down, like the top part of the serif, it seems like it does go against, like it kind of like hits the mid part. That looks like grime. This looks like damage. This one we're not going to see at all, probably. Say no. We've almost made it through this box. I believe the bottom serif is just scratched. Say no. Hey Paul Hampton, hello, hello. More coffee? Okay. I need some hot coffee. I need some bad. I streamed way too much yesterday. I felt like kind of faint at the end of the night. I was just like, whoa. How can I feel like this? And then I didn't get super good sleep last night. I ended up just watching other people's streams last night. I was like trying to go to bed, but I'm like, well, I didn't get to watch anyone else's stuff and catch up with what other people were doing, so I will just lay here, and if I fall asleep, great. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep watching channels. I know I see something, but there's just too much interference. So I'm going to say no. Hey, 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 Paul Hampton. For a 1942S. Yeah, it definitely seems like the top kind of hooks around and hits into it. At first I kind of put aside a couple of them just to see what was going on. I know, like the top or the bottom of the serif almost looks like there's a split there. And I almost feel like I can see a line going around the curve on the top towards the end of the serif. But it also looks like it's flattened. And no, I can see a little piece of metal to the right, but it also looks like the S has been damaged there. So I'm going to say no on this one. There almost looks like there's a piece on the inside, but it kind of looks green, so I'm going to say no. Yes, for the 1942S. Yeah, let me check out the... Is it like the end of the S, or is it the thickness? It's interesting because like it almost like I mean almost every single one, it's like there's this like it's almost like there's this extra piece of S that just goes down and nails the mid part on the top. And it almost looks like it would be a better S if it didn't have that there. Like the top part of the serif just gets like smushed in. So that was our last one here for this episode. We did get to see a couple kind of cool coins. Let's see if I can find it. We had one with, I think, die chips on it and lamination error. I think that this was it. I feel like there was like some machine doubling on this one, but it was like almost every single letter, like the E, the W, the D, the G, the N, like pretty much everything. And then on the reverse there was like a die chip over here. And then there was like a lamination error over here. And it was just like almost everything that we could look for on a coin was on this one. I think the only thing we're missing on this one is like a cud. But I'm guessing the die was just super worn. And it was just a really deteriorated die. And there was like this weird kind of skull crack but it also kind of like looked like a lamination, just like, I don't know, more of like a skull crack, but just like a deep groove. And if you, it was only on some angles, but it's like you can, it's kind of like the 1955 double die, but there's like a kind of a ghost 3 to the right. So that looks like it's pretty much the show here. I may have another show starting about 4 o'clock. I have to check eBay. There's like a ton of really good auctions today. I did get to do a bunch of other videos earlier. And I did make a video of a 1953 proof 68 wheat cent that I picked up graded by PCGS. And I also had a very nice smooth hunk of metal, a very nice looking 1796 Liberty Cap large cent, but it was a poor one condition. Almost looks like there might have been a little crack at the bottom. That might be a scratch too. I missed that one. Yeah, it's like, like in some ways it like looks like just like a groove, but whoop, I don't think it is. It's like very, very, very cracked. So I think I'm going to take a short break here, get some more coffee in me, and I think I will be back at 4 o'clock for another episode. I can either do another episode of this, or I can pull out like 50 random Flying Eagle cents and I can go through a roll of Flying Eagle cents if you guys want to see that. But I can do anything you guys want to do, almost anything if I've got it. I think probably just grabbing another box of these would be easiest thing for me to do. And but if you guys are wanting to see another episode, I can try to squeeze one in at about 4 o'clock. But I'd like to say thank you for everyone watching. Thank you, Engineer Corner, for stopping by. It was fun to check out your channel last night while I couldn't sleep. Thank you, Paul Hampton, for stopping by. And special thank you to all you lurkers out there watching. It looks like there's a number of you guys. I appreciate each and every one of you. All of on eBay, all the items are my items. I know some of the prices on some of them are ridiculous. It's just because they're in my registry set. Some of them I don't want to sell, and I also realized that being the cheapest on eBay, you just lose money. And I finally created a business model that makes money, and so it is what it is. But I'll be back with episode 23 in about 17 minutes or so. I might be a couple minutes late, but I'll try to be here by 4. Thank you guys all for stopping by. I'll see you guys in the future. And if you can't make it, I wish you guys great days and great nights wherever in the world you are.